Alrighty, let's see what we got today. Base and Cornucopia guilds. So there's no village. Draw, we got council room and advisor. Trashing, infirmary. Stonemason, kinda. Plus buy, merchant guild. So the lack of villages is a pretty big limitation. Most of the actions here are terminal. You could get thin with infirmary, and then just play a stack of mostly the cantrips, like a bunch of merchants, maybe some advisors. Vassal seems risky in that deck. Like with merchant, you have to have at least one silver. You'll eventually have some victory cards. And Vassal could miss in a pretty bad way if you have no villages. So maybe thin with infirmary, take a silver and a stack of merchants, and then play one merchant guild as your terminal each turn. That deck, I don't know, probably gets up to hitting province on average, maybe banks up on the favors to double province at some point. That seems okay. You could play like council room big money. Seems okay given that everything else seems fairly weak. Militia as your terminal also seems alright. Kind of similarly, I think you'd have like a infirmary, stack of merchants, and then militia as a terminal. Buys one province but gets to attack the opponent. I don't think advisor looks good enough. I mean, advisor actually could fit just fine, and probably in the merchant guild merchant deck. There's no reason you couldn't put that in there. I think I'm leaning towards infirmary, merchants, merchant guild, probably a handful of advisors. Final answer? We'll see. So 3-4 is actually not a great split for this. Ideally, like 5-2 would be the best. 4-3, you could open infirmary turn 1 and get an immediate trash off. On 3-4, it's less clear. So you could buy silver turn 1, buy infirmary turn 2, immediately trashing one estate. But then you most likely triggered a shuffle that's just hitting 4. And your infirmary is not in that shuffle. I think I'm kind of more inclined in this case to open with like double silver or silver militia or something, and then overpay for infirmary when I have a hand with more money in it. Probably just double silver. The militia has short-term value, but pretty soon I'm going to want my terminal play to be infirmary every turn for a bit, and then later on probably merchant guild. 6 is absolutely lovely. See if I can get 3 trashes off. Yes, I can. Failure case would have been drawing that second silver, in which case I'll get to trash 2. Alright, I got 5. What am I doing on 5? I have half a mind to buy a second infirmary. I trashed 2, but then I added a second infirmary, which is not necessarily a card that I want in my deck. I could also buy the Merchant Guild immediately, which has some appeal because my infirmary's in the bottom 5. I play it, I draw one of these 6 cards, these 5, plus Merchant Guild, which most likely is not the Merchant Guild, but then most likely top deck's the Merchant Guild. I think that works out nicely most of the time. It's nice to be in a situation where the 2 terminals are kind of on alternate halves of the deck. There's merchants now. I could take 2 merchants by gaining a stonemason here, but stonemason I think is a pretty bad card to put in this deck. Definitely might look a little bit more appealing with a merchant guild in hand, because then that would also get 3 coffers. Like here, I'm more seriously considering stonemason for double merchants. Then I get 3 coffers off of that, and maybe I put those coffers towards the second big infirmary overpay in a second. That sounds good. What if I overpay by like 5 here? I got 1 estate left in the deck. How many coppers have I trashed? Just 1? 2? I think 2. So there's 2 more coppers down there. What does it look like if I leave 2 coppers on hand and pay 6? I trash exactly these 3. I think I'd rather do this way.
Oh.
Why does it say 3 of 3? I overpaid by 4. I'm missing something? I hope that's just a visual bug. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I said 3 of 3. I should have said 3 of 4. Probably just. Alrighty. Once again, consider firm rate overpay. Last turn, bought an infirmary, trashed an estate, and a copper. I think I have 4 total coppers in the deck. Are those bottom 3 cards infirmary double copper? That sounds correct. So I can just do 1 big infirmary overpay, trashing all of these 5 cards. I could buy a merchant and then overpay 4, trashing 4 of the cards. No, that doesn't work out. I would overpay 3, trashing 3 of the 4 cards. How thin is my deck? I think I just like clearing all of this out.
Oh.
What's left?
Oh.
About 600 gold. Speaking. Okay. Merchant, stonemason, merchant. I don't know what's going on over there. The bot's got infirmary, merchant guild, now council room. Strange things are. Let's take some advisors and some merchants. I think I'm liking the stonemason, at least on terms of the merchant guild, because it generates a ton of coppers, and then you can just clear it off, clear it out again by putting those coppers towards an infirmary overpay. Advisor is among the nastiest attack cards. Just having to resolve these is a pain in the butt.
Oh.
You haven't even finished clicking the first one before the new notification comes in. Okay. So probably time for one more overpay, right? I've trashed one stonemason. Did the bot ever get a stonemason? I feel like the answer was yes. Maybe I'm making that up. Yeah, the bot has a stonemason. So this is all 3 of my stonemasons. So if I wanted to trash infirmary 3 stonemasons, it would cost me 7. Is that what I want? Maybe just 1 more infirmary trash, 1 more advisor, and start provincing next turn.
Oh.
My deck's probably thinner, like 1 more merchant. In the abstract, I think Counter was probably a better card than Gold. The bot's over-terminaled. So that Counter was probably sitting in the hand with Merchant Guild or Infirmary or what have you. Okay, what do I do here? Don't think the bot can realistically double province. So I can probably take 1 province. And a duchy. Yeah, there's no way the bot's buying double province next turn. So I think duchy here is pretty safe. Bunch of gardens, okay. So if I find a Merchant Guild, I win the game. Smart bot. Can I get back into it? The answer is no. A bit of an unfortunate draw there. Not that unlikely. My deck is obviously lower in quality than it was a minute ago. Merchant Guild, please. Oh my gosh. If I lose this game by just never ever drawing the Merchant Guild, I'm a little bit miffed. Here we go. Alrighty. Overall, I like the idea, I think, of getting thin, playing Merchant Guild consistently, doing Stonemason stuff to get extra coffers, and then trashing the stuff again. All of that, I think, made sense. I was a little bit worried at the end there. Now, my deck obviously relies a lot on finding that Merchant Guild consistently, because it's the only way I gain cards. And then Advisor is just one of those cards that, if your deck is not firing all cylinders, it gets really bad really fast. Because like if your deck is functional, they can discard whatever they want. You'll get back around and draw it eventually. But then when you start adding provinces, it starts to fall apart. And then the fall apart case can be pretty bad if they just deny the Merchant Guild over and over, and you can never pick it up again. Possibly a solution to that was taking a few more advisors, so I had an excess of draw, enough to sustain me while greening. Maybe just one more like Stonemason overpay for advisor before going into provinces. Something like that seems like it might have been an improvement. I was worried a little bit there when I stopped finding my Merchant Guild. Bot's deck. Council Room disappeared. A little confused by the bot's deck. It was doing a little bit of everything, what I don't think came together. I think going for the gardens there at the end made sense. Stonemasoning the 5s into 2 gardens. It's definitely a good way to come back. Not quite good enough though.